Hello! Welcome back to my channel. Today we are knitting socks. Oh fuck. In this video we're gonna be knitting a pair of socks. Big surprise. Alright, so in my last video we talked about 3 pairs. I picked 3 patterns in my last sock video that were going to be like the next 3 patterns that I knit. So we knit the tributary socks in that video, and in this video we're going to be knitting the Una socks. Oh, my book's at my apartment, it's not here. So in this video I'm going to be knitting the Una socks. I will just put a picture because I don't have the book with me. I did already knit one of them because I knit this sock on a train. I knit the sock on Amtrak. I was on Amtrak for 18 hours and I knit this sock. I don't want to spoil the video by showing you the sock yet, but the sock is super dope. It's my first sock so far in this series where I've started to experiment with color blocking for toes, heels, cuffs, etc. I didn't do it on the cuff, but I would have if I had thought of it earlier. So let me just flash it to you one more time. I started this sock when I was in Seattle, and then I finished it after I left Portland about a week ago. I was using 2 different yarns. The green that I'm using is this tiny little ball. Hopefully I have enough. This is the perennial yarn from Kelbourne Woolens. So this is just like, you can get this anywhere, kind of. It's not like local to Seattle or Portland. I think you can probably get it like online in most places, but I got it, or like online at most yarn shops that have like this brand. That was like the stupidest like piece of information. This I got from the Starlight Knitting Society in Portland, so maybe it's on their website, I don't know, but I really like the neon colors, and whenever I see the neon mini hanks I have the urge to buy them because I love a mini hank. They're so cute and small, and also I've had trouble finding the neon sometimes. I was pretty hyped when I saw this, and that's why I bought 2, and it's probably good that I bought 2 because I think they're only like 100 yards each. And I did use them for both the heel and the toe. Yeah, and I would hate if I ran out and I had like one sock that had a green toe and the other one didn't. It might be cool. And then the yarn that I'm using is, wait, did I already film an intro to this video? No, I don't. And then the yarn that I'm using for the sock, let me just show you one more time. This is, I got this from Acorn Street Yarn Shop in Seattle. It is, the brand of yarn is Trilogy, which is based in Spokane, Washington, I think. And then the kind of yarn is called Plush, I believe. I'm trying to remember this because the tag is in the middle of this ball that I wound around a chair. So I think the kind of yarn is called Plush, and then the colorway is called Oil Slick. So it's primarily gray with some like colors, a lot of like little green bits. It's kind of giving like Toxic Avenger, but I'm really liking it, and I think it looks dope with this yarn. That's what we're doing in this video. We're knitting the Una socks, and the Una socks are cuff down. So the last 2 pairs I did were toe up, and now we're going back to cuff down, which is like nice and easy at this point. And this has an all over lace pattern. Should I just show you? Like, are you gonna keep watching the video if I show you right now? So it has an all over lace pattern, and then it goes into this like nice textured heel. I was knitting this with my tiny circular needles that I mentioned in my pack with me video, and it was going okay, but they're not my favorite needles so far. Like, they're actually pretty good for cable knitting, because sometimes when I use double points and I'm doing cables, it's just like way too many needles, and it can get like a little like, I don't know, it just can be a lot when you have like 6 needles at that point going, or more, I guess, depending on your cable pattern. So I did like the tiny circulars for cable knitting, which will probably be in my Linea video, which is the next video, because I was doing those with double points and then I put them on the mini circulars, and it was easier to do the cable in that pattern. These, however, have a lace pattern, and it was easier with double points. So I will be knitting these on double points because double points are still my favorite. That was a lot of like useless information. I'm going to start the sock today. Not right now because I don't actually have my knitting needles with me. I'm a little disorganized right now. But yeah, let's knit these socks. It's been a few days since I started working on my second Una sock, and I've made some progress. Actually, what day did I start? I started, I think it was Wednesday, and today is now Monday. So I basically spent like the end of last week and the weekend working on this. So this is my progress so far. I finished all of the ankle portion yesterday, and then I moved on to the heel, and now I'm starting the foot decreases. So that's what I have right now. I like these socks a lot. I think that I really like the neon. Okay, so the first time, or the first sock, I think I made it a little small. Like I measured it. I don't have the book with me, of course, because like why would I be prepared to film this video? But I think it was like measure like 2 inches before the toe, something like that, like pretty standard sock pattern instructions. Like you usually have about 2 to 3 inches for like the toe, and it just looks really small. It does measure like about 8 inches, which is about my foot size, but it's looking really small. And I did like stretch it on the sock blocker, and I think it's okay. So I think like once it's wet and maybe it'll like stretch just a tiny bit, and I put it on my foot, it just like looks a tiny bit small, and I don't know if I should like unravel the toe and add a little bit more, or if I should just like see if making a slightly smaller sock and then blocking it fits better. So we'll see. I'm gonna try to just make make this one the same as this one, and if it's too small I can just unravel the toe and add a little bit. But I'm a little curious to see like if making a slightly smaller sock fits my foot better after it's blocked, like if it fits perfectly, because that would be ideal. I know I said I wanted to knit these ones for, I think I said for the tattoo artist, but I have something else in mind for the tattoo artist. I kind of, since I'm sending them as a gift, I kind of want to send like one of my own designs to my tattoo artist. And I'll get into that in another video, because I sent in some sock submissions for the 52 Weeks of Socks Volume 2 book, and unfortunately none of the ones that I submitted were selected, but that means I have 3 sock designs that I can release on my own. So we can do that on this channel together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish knitting this sock. I'm going to finish my foot decreases, and then I think you mostly just continue in pattern until you do the toe. This sock has been really easy. I did this in another yarn the first time I attempted it. It was like when I was on the plane going to Seattle, and I had found some yarn in Michigan from the Salvation Army, and I think it was like legit sock yarn. It was like merino nylon, and it may have been like, I don't know the quality of the yarn, but the content was like sock content. So I started knitting that, and it was a little bit too big. Like it may have been like, what, like a sport weight? And it was so hard to knit. Here, I have it. So this is what I was using before. See, it's quite big compared to this. It's like double the size. Like, what was I thinking? I don't know why. I guess I was just like trying to use what I had found at the craft store. So this is what I had knit on the plane. This is the Una sock, the top of it in a very in a too big yarn with the correct size needles. So I was using 1.5. I'm not sure if the pattern calls for 1.5, but I'm like sticking with 1.5 as my go-to needle size at this point. So this is like, I don't know, sport weight yarn with 1.5, and like look at the size difference. And this was so hard to knit. Like, I think because the yarn was too big, so it was very tight on the small needles, and you have to do a lot of decreasing and yarn overs for this pattern because it's a lace pattern, and it was so hard. I was like, what the hell, like this is the hardest thing. This is like I hate this pattern. And then I was like, you know what, it's probably not the pattern, it's probably the fat ass yarn that you're using. And of course I switched and I made this sock, and it was totally painless. So we're just learning. I'm just learning. I also like I knew that I was struggling with this on the plane, but it was like, it's either just keep knitting this sock that you might not need or use, or you might unravel, or sit on the plane and do nothing. I just got in like 3 hours of practice on the plane, and now I have this little tube which will for sure be unraveled. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna continue knitting this. This one has like a really pretty heel. It's like, though you do this by like, it's like a series of slip and knit, and then it kind of switches like the next time you do it, and it makes this kind of like almost like a netting. I don't know what the name of this is, but it's like a really cool texture. I'm going to finish this sock and then I will block them as usual. We all know how these videos go. Okay, see you in a few.
Should knitting hurt this much?
Hi, it is Thursday and it's about 10 a.m. although it feels like it's about 7 a.m. because I have been staying up very late and waking up very early, and I think I might be a little out of it. Also, I'm sitting in my mother's car in a parking lot waiting for her to come back. She's at the eye doctor and she's giving me a ride. I have my socks with me because I always have my socks with me. I'm getting really close to being finished. I swear I always pick like when I feel the most out of it, or like when I have literally nothing to say. I'm like, this is a great time to film. There's like a lot of activity in this parking lot. Like there are so many people being dropped off in this parking lot. I've gotten really close to the toe of my sock, which is very exciting. This has been really speedy compared to the last one. This probably looks funny, like sitting. Oh my gosh, somebody right there. Let me just give me a sec. There's a man in this parking lot and he has a water bottle, and I'm assuming it's full because it looks like it's a little bit heavy, and he's throwing it up into the air and catching it. He's throwing it really high, like 10 feet into the air and catching it. Okay, so this is where I'm at right now. This is my other one. See, we're getting really close. Let's put this one in front of this one. I like don't even measure these when I'm doing this. Like if I have finished, or if I've already finished one, I just like hold them together and like I don't count the stitches or anything. I kind of just do this and I'm like, okay, yep, we're there. They're the same size. I feel like that works just as well. So we're really close. I have maybe like one more repeat of the stitch pattern and then I can start my toe. But maybe I'll count the stitches just to make sure, since this is also like my little small sock. I think this one tripped me up because it was like, you did the heel because it's cuffed down. And then once you start doing the foot, the instructions are like, continue the foot until it's like 2 inches from your desired foot length. But I think I was measuring from like this point here because I was thinking like that's probably where like the farthest point of your heel would be, right there. So I measured like from there to here and it should have been like 6 inches, and it does look like 6 inches. But then it looked really small when it was off. It could also be this lace pattern. This lace pattern is really like scrunching up. So maybe it's just like and when we block it, it will relax a little bit. I have like maybe one more repeat and then I'm gonna go into the toe, which I'm gonna make neon. I forget the method for the toe. I feel like it was pretty simple. I don't even have the book with me at this point. Like I have not touched that book in like a week because I just took photos of all the patterns. But so that's what the toe is going to look like, and I'm pretty sure it was just pretty standard toe, like kind of similar to the toe that I did in, there's a man getting into his car right next to me. I think it's actually pretty similar to the toe that I did in my How to Knit a Simple Sock video, which was just like a really basic like K2 together slip knit to form a point for your toes. Something I thought was interesting about this yarn, so this is the yarn I'm using. This is the first one. So the first one had a lot of like this green tone and kind of orange tones coming through. And you can see on the other side, like lots of green and orange. And then as I got deeper into the ball of yarn, this one has a lot more purple. There's like purple here and here, and then there's a lot of purple on this side. I just thought that was cool, like the layers of color within this ball. Also, I'm working backstage again right now, and I was knitting the sock backstage, and the like green parts of this yarn were like glowing in the dark. It was kind of sick. I'll put a picture
of what it looked like backstage. I don't know like what process they probably used to dye like the green and neon portions of this yarn. They're not really neon, but they are like very bright yellow. So I don't know, like, is that an acid dye? Like, what would cause the yarn to glow under a black light? Let me know in the comments, because you guys are so smart. You guys know, like, I ask you to let me know in the comments, and usually people, like, have brilliant things to say, so thank you. That's where we're at right now. I'm probably just gonna sit here and wait and knit my next little section of lace and go onto my toe, and then my sock blockers are at my studio, so maybe I can convince my mother to swing by my studio. But we won't push it. She's already doing me a favor by giving me a ride. Now that I'm on the foot of this sock, I'm like actually starting to remember what the lace pattern is. And it's like an 8-row lace pattern. And it was like a little bit tricky for me to remember. Like, I looked at that little chart that I drew. Oh, I mentioned that in my 18-hour train ride video. I had drawn the lace chart in a little notebook that I was looking at. So I had looked at that for like the majority of the sock until I didn't have it with me, and I didn't want to like dig through my phone for the photo of the chart. And I just tried to remember, and I was able to remember. This for sure has some mistakes in it, like mixing up slip slip knit and K2 together in places, so like a left leaning and a right leaning decrease, but I don't think it's like really noticeable enough. Like, I think I'd have to go searching for those mistakes. Once I got to the point where I was like going off memory for the lace pattern, I think I probably messed up those little bits a few times, but it's all good. It's all good. Oh my god, I really like don't care when I mess something up. Unless it's like really obvious, like then I care. I do care. I would go back if it was like really obvious, but this isn't for a test. Like, no one's going to be examining this sock looking for slip slip knits and K2 together decreases in incorrect places. Okay, one more thing while I'm just sitting here blabbering. I was at the yarn store the other day, because sometimes I just hang out at the yarn store. And there was this woman who was getting help with her project, and I was eavesdropping, as one does. So I know some of the people who work at the yarn store, and I was, oh my god, a truck just ran over a curb. Yeah, so I know people who work at this yarn shop, and I was eavesdropping, and I guess I was like not ashamed that I was eavesdropping, because they were trying to do Judy's Magic Cast On for something, and the woman who was giving the lesson was like, okay, yeah, I know how to do it, but I haven't done it in a really long time. And I was like, I know how to do it, and I went into the back room and I was like, I know how to do it, and she pulls out her magic loop needles, and I was like, ooh, awkward. I only know how to do it on double points, and I like backed out of the room. It was fine. I was just like so hyped for a minute. I was like, I know how to do Judy's Magic Cast On. I just did it a bunch of times. And then in that same moment, while I was eavesdropping, I heard them talking about the project, and it just sounded like the person who was doing the project was like really, really stressed out by their knitting, in the way that I would get stressed out about something that I like didn't really want to do. You know, something that I almost felt like it was looming over me. So I was just wondering, like, because I don't have a lot of knitting friends in real life, and I hope that will change one day, I was just wondering, like, does knitting stress you out? Do your projects like stress you out to the point of like not wanting to do them? Like, is knitting still fun for you? Because my personal experience with knitting so far has been very positive. I really like knitting, and I feel like for the most part it makes sense to me, and I'm able to grasp like the stitches and instructions and things, and like short rows, and pretty much like any new instruction that I get to, like I feel like I've been able to figure it out pretty easily. Like, maybe it took a few tries, or like I messed it up a few times, but yeah, I haven't gotten to the point in knitting where I'm like, fuck, knitting fucking sucks, it's so hard. Like, I want to go back to making vanilla socks all the time. I'm just curious, like, what other people's experiences are with knitting and crafting, crochet, whatever. Dudes, do you love knitting but it also stresses you out? Like, I'm so curious. I think one of the reasons why I love knitting is because it doesn't stress me out. It's like fun, and it's okay if I mess things up. And I like learning new things about knitting and stitches and how to do new heels, and it's still really exciting to me. But maybe what I should do is I should do a video where I do like some really hard project like knitting something until I get so stressed out that I hate knitting. Hopefully that question made a little bit of sense. I don't know, I just feel like recently, while I've been hanging out in this yarn shop, I've heard a lot of people come in who are confused about their projects and their patterns to the point of like frustration. I guess I'm just curious, like, let me know like your experience with like crafting and stress, and like, are you crafting because it's something you love and it brings you joy and like you love the process, or like, are you crafting because for some other reason? I don't know. I think like, okay, one of the people, now I'm just like going off on a tangent that has absolutely nothing to do with my 52 weeks of socks video, but I'll just hold the sock up to remind you what video we're in right now. Another, like, one of the people who was having issues with their project that I was eavesdropping on, it was like a gift for someone. So I guess I could see how that would be stressful, like, but also like, why are you making a gift for someone if it's stressing you out? Okay, that's enough of this tangent. I'm gonna finish this sock and I'll see you when it's time to block them. I finished my socks. Well, okay, I haven't blocked them yet. Normally I would film this little clip like when I'm right about to block the socks, but it's been very crowded at my workplace right now. I want to block them today when I go in, but I don't really want to have to worry about like filming this clip and having people like walking in and out. So I thought I would just do it in advance, and then we'll go into the sock blocking later today. I did finish my socks. They are on the sock blockers, but they have not been blocked. So here they are. Ta-da! And I'll take them off real quick since they're not actually blocked. And I actually put these on yesterday. So they're still looking a little like shriveled and funny, but they did stretch out just a little bit from resting on the sock blocker for like a day. So I'm going to take these with me to work. I'm gonna block them, and let's see, today is Saturday, so we'll see, maybe they'll be dry by Sunday night. Regardless, I will be taking them home Sunday night, so I may be riding the train with some wet socks in my purse. I'm gonna block these, and then we can talk about my experience with the Una socks. I finished my socks! Woohoo! What I've noticed about myself in making these videos where I like frantically knit a pair of socks in like a week or 2 weeks, or you know, however long, I'm like so obsessed with my socks and I'm like trying to knit my socks, and then I finish the socks and on to the next. I guess that's just like how it's gonna be, but I think because I'm knitting socks so quickly that it's like we get to spend time together, me and the sock, while I'm knitting the sock, and then once the socks are done and blocked and the video is uploaded, it's like on to the next. Here it is on my foot. Let's talk about here it is on my foot. Okay, let me put the other one on. So earlier in the video I talked about the fit of these. I like made them a little bit what I thought was going to be a little bit small. I think wait, I'm like in this weird I'm in a weird, like, what are they called? What's the word? I'm in a weird, like, ergonomical kneeling chair, and it's like a rocking chair. I am definitely going to fall. Oh my god. I'm gonna take these off so we can talk about them, but look, they do fit my feet, and that was a concern I had in the beginning of this video, was that they weren't going to fit my feet, and they do. And also, I guess I just keep making socks for myself, even though I said I wanted to make socks for other people. But the holidays are coming, so I think now I should stop making socks for myself and start making socks for other people, and I can give them to people as gifts. Anyway, this is my Una sock, and it's kind of beautiful. It's kind of dope. I really like the yarn combination. Let's get closer and look at this sock. This is the second one that I did, and I can tell because the second sock ended up with a lot more purple. So here are the two socks. I would highly recommend this sock pattern. This is one of my favorites that we've done so far in this series, and it could be because of the color play on the heel and the toes. But I also really liked this yarn. I'm so excited for the future of these sock videos because I'm getting really into like the novelty yarns and heels and toes and all that good stuff. I can't wait to wear them. They would be so cute with sandals. I am a socks and sandals type gal. I'm kind of hyped that they're like my first, no they're not. I was gonna say they're my first neutral sock, but like literally the first sock we knit in this series was gray. And then I just knit a gray sock for my uncle. So this is our third pair of gray socks, but these ones have like this amazing yarn, and yeah, I'm pretty hyped off these socks. Thank you so much for watching this video and putting up with my blabbering. This was the second sock pattern that I had picked out in my last video. I picked 3 patterns in that video that I was going to knit over the next few weeks. The next sock video that's coming out is going to pivot a little bit. It's going to be my special birthday sock video, because your girl is a September baby, so we gotta get that video out before October, or else there's no point in doing that video. I have started knitting those socks, and I'm doing something a little bit different with those socks. I'll give you a little spoiler for the next video right now because I'm pretty excited. In the next video, I'm going to be knitting 2 at a time socks using Magic Loop. I'm not a Magic Loop gal. I am a double point bitch. I thought we gotta try it. We gotta try all the sock things in this series. So we're trying it next week. We'll see how it goes. I also asked recently on my community page which pattern I should knit next. So if you want to be a part of this sock knitting journey, definitely subscribe. And I'm not sure how you get notified of when I post in my community tab, like questions and things, but that is there, and I will be asking for more help picking patterns and yarns, and just asking for other people's opinions on my community page on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram if you want more like daily updates with sock knitting. I do often post what I'm knitting like in real time on my Instagram stories, So if you're following me on Instagram, you probably already knew that I was knitting 2 at a time socks, and that'll be linked down below. And then one other fun thing I can show you before the video ends, I recently got a new hank of yarn when I went to buy my Magic Loop circular needles for my 2 at a time socks. I bought this yarn, and since it's just a single hank, I'll just show you now instead of waiting for the Fuzzy Wuzzy Knitting podcast. This is Wasco Sock. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce that. It's so pretty. So pretty. This color is 1024 Vinnicunca. This is beautiful. I saw this at the yarn store and I was like, I'm gonna be so sad if that sells out before I can get one. So I had to buy one. And my friend at the yarn store, the owner of the yarn store, I bought this and she was like, I'm so glad you bought that. You needed that yarn. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in the next sock video. Goodbye.